Buying a home in Dayton or Beavercreek, Kettering, Oakwood, Vandalia, Springboro, you name it, anywhere in the Greater Dayton area, stop scrolling. This video could save you thousands and weeks of stress. Stay tuned because in this video, we're going to break down why pre-approvals still matter in this market, some really common mistakes, how to navigate low inventory, and so much more. Hi, my name is David Moyer. I'm a local real estate expert here in Dayton, Ohio. And in today's video, I'm going to break down the 6 common mistakes that buyers, especially in our market, make when they're purchasing a home. And by avoiding these mistakes, you're going to save yourself thousands of dollars as well as a lot of headaches. If this is the first time you've been on my YouTube channel, make sure you like, subscribe, and make sure you share this as well because somebody else could also benefit from this. And you can also help them save a ton of money. So stay tuned. Now let's just dive right into it with everyone's favorite topic, and that is the pre-approval. And buyers always want to know, why is the pre-approval so important? The worst mistake you can make is going out there to see a property without having that pre-approval. First of all, how do you know how much you can afford? Sure, you're paying rent right now, but that doesn't necessarily translate into a monthly mortgage. So you want to know what your affordability is. Next in line, you want to know actually what your monthly payment's going to be. Every home has a different property tax, so a home in one area versus another area may be completely different. So your lender's going to guide you along the way to let you know if you're looking for a home in this purchase price point, you're going to want to make sure your taxes don't exceed X number of dollars. So knowledge is power. You want to have that up front. Now, besides that, if you're looking at an area like Centerville or Oakwood, then the pre-approval is going to give you so much power when it comes to writing your offer. If you go into a multiple offer and you don't have that pre-approval ready and somebody else does, even if their terms aren't as great as yours, the seller is more than likely going to lean towards that buyer because they have their ducks in a row. They have that pre-approval ready and they submit it with their offer. Now, you can also write the offer and say, we'll get you an official pre-approval within X number of days. My suggestion would be no more than 1 or 2, but you still want to have the process going so that that time frame is not too long. You don't want to get a seller to accept your offer conditional on you getting a pre-approval and then going to get that pre-approval and having it not go through, because that just doesn't help anybody, right? So pre-approval, number 1, get it done. The next common mistake that buyers make, especially here in the Dayton market, is not knowing exactly what the buying time frame looks like. And what is the buying time frame? It's the time frame from the day that you write the offer and you get it accepted by the seller until you're all sitting at the closing table getting the keys to your new home. Now, typically in Dayton, that time frame can range anywhere from 30 days to 45 days. 45 days tends to be the max, especially if you're financing, let's say, VA or USDA. On average, 30-day close time is what most sellers will expect. So you want to make sure that your lender is in line with that and your lender says, yes, 30 days is not a problem. And fun fact, a lot of my lenders will tell you, we don't even need 30 days. 21 days can do it. So knowing your time frame. Also, that involves a lot of extra steps. When you go in and you get an offer accepted, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to deposit your earnest money and you're going to set up inspections. That usually takes anywhere from 10 to 12 days to complete your inspections. You have to negotiate repairs if there are repairs that are habitability issues, and then you have to get the appraisal done. So there's a lot that happens between point A and point B. And if your time frame doesn't align, that is going to not help you when it comes time to write the offer. Here's an example. Let's say you are currently renting and your lease is up in 60 days. Well, that tells us we better find you a home within the next 30 days because it's going to take you 30 days to close. And you better hope that seller is going to give you occupancy at closing. If that seller needs occupancy post-closing, you are now stuck in a situation where you may have to rent for 1 more month or go into temporary housing before you can move into that house. So knowing your timeframes is going to save you a lot of money. Now, we already talked about it, but let's talk about it again. I'm saying tight inventory. We still see it here in the Greater Dayton area. Even though the day on market is slightly going up, the inventory still remains extremely low. So when it comes time for you to look for a home, knowing how to navigate that low inventory is going to help you tremendously. Here's an example. If you go out there and you're looking for a home and the average day on market for the area you're looking at, let's say it's Kettering, is 10 days, and you see a property that's been on the market for 5 days, you better act fast because there is a high likelihood, unless there's something wrong with that home, that somebody else is going to write the offer before you do. Now, likewise, if you know that the average day on market is, let's say, 21 days, and you find a home that's been out there for 30 to 45 days, then maybe something is wrong with that property. It could be something as simple as the price. And at that point in time, hopefully the seller is open to negotiations and you can go in and negotiate the lower price and get the home that you want. But make sure your realtor is breaking all these numbers down for you and explaining to you how that day on market works and how to navigate the low inventory. So also work with a proactive realtor. I consider myself to be very proactive. I'm definitely not reactive. You can probably tell by all these videos I put out, right? So when it comes time for a home to hit the market and it meets your buyer's criteria, you better not say, let's schedule something over the weekend, or let's see what we can do tomorrow or the next day, because the home you wait on today will be bought by somebody else tomorrow, right? Now let's talk about mortgage rates. Right now the mortgage rates are driving everybody nuts. One day they're up, one day they're down. This week they actually moved just a little bit lower than normal, and that has actually changed people's monthly mortgage payments by tens, hundreds, even thousands of dollars depending on their price point. So it's important to make sure you are always one step ahead of watching the mortgage rates. If you're looking to purchase a home and the mortgage rate hasn't moved for a long time, waiting too long could still cost you, even if those rates come down, because then the housing prices continue to go up. However, if you are under contract and you just went under contract on a property and your lender says, you know what, it looks like these rates are probably going to maybe drop in the next couple of days, they're forecasted to, let's hang on to it for a little bit, then maybe you want to lock in your loan rate a few days after you actually go under contract. That can also save you thousands of dollars. Likewise, if you own a home right now and you're thinking about refinancing, don't watch the market every single day, but keep an eye on the market weekly to see what's happening, and wait until that mortgage rate drops to a certain percentage that's going to save you enough on your monthly mortgage that you will also encompass the cost that it takes to refinance the loan, and depending on how long you're in there, all of a sudden be in the green again. So knowing those mortgage rates is going to help you. Work with a realtor that works very closely with your lender, and we can guide you every step of the way. I try and not be doom and gloom, but let's talk about some mistakes that I feel a lot of buyers make in the real estate market, especially here in Dayton, Ohio. And one of the first mistakes that I saw over the past 5 years that we don't see so much anymore, but some people do still attempt them, is waiving their inspections. You go into a multiple offer situation and all of a sudden you're trying to figure out, well, I can't go up anymore in price. I can't do this. I can't do that. Maybe I'll just waive my inspections and tell the seller, hey, I'll buy the property as is. I'm not going to do inspections. Everything's fine. That is a huge, huge mistake. I can't emphasize that enough. When you purchase a property, you are also inheriting whatever that seller has done to that property over the past who knows how many years. So you still want to do your inspection. A cool little trick is that when you go to write your offer, you tell the seller up front, hey, we're only looking for severe habitability issues. For instance, we're only looking for things that are going to cost us in excess of $2,500, $5,000. Anything else below that, a leaky faucet, a loose toilet, anything like that, we'll take care of it ourselves. We're not going to nitpick the inspections. That gives the seller a little bit of assurance that you're not going to go under contract and then be completely unreasonable. And I think that's perfectly fine. Also, make sure you're not overextending your budget. Just because you were approved for a certain amount, like we said before, look at what the taxes are on that property. What's the insurance going to be on that property? What are the monthly utilities? The last thing you want to do is say, well, we can afford this mortgage, and then get in there and find out that your utility cost is skyrocketing. So then you can't afford the home anymore. That's definitely a common pitfall. So making sure you understand that. And lastly, HOAs. HOAs are extremely important in certain communities and especially in condos. And if you're approved for a certain amount and you're looking to purchase a home that has an HOA that is $100, $200 a month, that is going to decrease your approval level. So you want to make sure that you understand how those HOA fees affect what you're approved for and what you can afford. And it is always a good idea to check those rules and regulations. You'd be surprised what we come across. You want a privacy fence? Maybe you can't have one. You want a pool? Maybe you can't have one. You want more than 2 dogs? Maybe you can't have one. Those HOA rules are important to look over before you write a contract, and even more so if you don't have a chance to, but you go under contract, making sure your realtor gives you a 2 to 3 day protection period to review those HOA rules. It's all about negotiations, right? And it's all about knowing what the common things are in our local real estate market. Like I said, I've been doing this for over 20 years, so I know the ins and outs of real estate in the Greater Dayton area and what the common practices are. I have connections with all kinds of local lenders. You don't have to go online and apply for a mortgage for a national lender. That's not going to help you at all. I can promise you that. We'll talk about that in another video. Also, I have a ton of inspectors and contractors that I've worked with for 20 years that can come out there and help you navigate the home buying process, making sure what you're buying is good and stable and ready for you and your family. And we can make sure that any expenses that are soon to be had can be managed by getting you some good quotes and everything right up front. So working with somebody that has those local connections is going to go a mile. So if this video was helpful to you, hit the like and subscribe button. I really appreciate it. And if you're looking to purchase a home in the Miami Valley anytime soon, I would love to take you on that journey and let my expertise work for you. So once again, thanks for watching, and I love selling real estate in Dayton, Ohio.